Why, hello, Internet. Good morning. Welcome to Shakespeare's Coffee Break. I am your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare, and I am on my coffee break. Let's start things off with a nice, noisy slow, shall we? Oh, that's just good internet audio. I don't care who you are. Well, welcome to the first of the 3 final episodes of this season. I mean, you can see it right there on the title card. Only 3 episodes left this season. Oh my god. Oh my goodness gracious. So we're going to have a really good time, I promise you, because today we have special Science Correspondent Janine Rinker on the show. Oh, Janine is going to be talking to all of us about Paleontological Fieldwork. It's going to be an absolutely great good time. We are going to find out where in the world is Mayhem. I mean, she's driving somewhere. I don't know where. She might let us know. I mean, will she? We need to find out. And maybe she'll tell us about the travails of house buying. It's always a good time. But as always, if you'd like to support the show, you certainly can. Go to coffee.com/Shakespeare. That's ko-fi.com/Shakespeare. Buy me a cup. Or go to patreon.com/Shakespeare and become a Patreon of the arts. But let's get things rolling. Oh my goodness gracious. We have guests. We have Mayhem. We have archaeology. No, I'm sorry. Paleontology. Indiana Jones is not here. Dr. Jones is not here. Dr. Sam Grant might be here. All right. Fantastic. But I need to find things out first. Where in the world is Mayhem?
Mayhem is driving back home from allergy shots and Costco trip.
Ah, Costco. Fantastic.
Yes. I would be home if I didn't have to have a meeting with my lender. Because that pushed back my day a little bit.
Well, I'm very excited for you about having your lending meetings and getting the house sale going along. So this is highly exciting for you, and for me, secondarily.
Well, I mean, I'm excited to have my first house with my hubby. What I'm not excited about is sitting in my sewing room last night, drinking wine and a margarita, thinking about all the poor decisions I've made over the past 3 years. With the amount of stuff that I have. So that's a thing. I'm probably going to be doing the Great Purge again. We'll see what happens. But my husband's birthday is actually today. And,
happy birthday, off-screen hubby.
Yes, and he turns 39 today, and he's reached that point in his life where he's decided he's just gonna hire people to move our furniture.
That's a good decision. That's a very good. That's what off-screen wife and I did.
We have a lot of heavy antiques, and he said, and I quote, "I'm too old for this crap."
Arguable about that, because I am older than your hubby, and I am not too old for this crap. But
we're just tired of moving heavy antiques. That's
well, you know what? That's just a good decision. Get someone else to do it. I mean, and offer them money. I mean, there is a time in all of our lives where, for a brief moment, you can offer your friends pizza and soda or beer, and they will move your stuff.
But it's funny, we're gonna do there's a company that my mother-in-law used because she's bougie, and they're local, and they actually specialize in moving antiques. So all her stuff made it in her place in one piece. So we're gonna use them, and they're gonna move our whole house except for the things that I don't want people touching, like my iMac and my sewing machines that cost way too much money, and that crap. But they can take the giant architect table that I work on and move that all they want. I'm like, break it. I don't care. Just don't break my computer.
No, you can't do that. Speaking of computers, internet everyone at home, I'm hoping that my signal looks a little better than it's been the last several months, because I finally got a new piece to make the Ethernet work better. I know. I got a new dongle, which is a word that just continually makes off-screen wife laugh. So she's like, dongle.
It makes me laugh. The word dongle does make me giggle.
So where are you headed right now, Mayhemmer?
I'm heading back to my
know
house.
when the world you were. So you're heading back to home.
Yeah.
All right. So we have answered the eternal question, where in the world is Mayhemmer? She's going to what is still home and will soon be just a memory. Aww. It's a rental, right?
Yeah, it's a lovely place too, but
Yeah. But this new place
has more space. Yeah, it has more space. I'm super excited. I'm going to continue to be the weird house on the block, because they decorated for I know this house because I drive past it all the time. And they always decorated. Like every holiday, like Halloween was the craziest one. They would put giant spiders on the house and graves in the front yard and all that stuff, and giant blow up things for Christmas and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, they just don't know that one weird family's moving out and another weird family's moving in.
Oh, that is fantastic. I'm glad that you get to still be the weird family. And that brings joy to the cockles of my heart. Well, since we have established that Mayhemmer gets to continue being the weird family on the block, let us go to the ancient weird family, the weird family with the tyrannosaurs and the pterosaurs and the plesiosaurs and maybe some bronchiosaur. I don't know. I'm just starting to name every dinosaur I can. My inner 5-year-old's coming out. She's pulling out the T-Rex skull T-shirt. Fantastic! Yes! Oh my God!
Yeah,
guys, gals, and non-binary gingerbread pals, give it up for special science correspondent Janine Rinker. So, Janine, what is new in the world of 65 million years ago?
Oh, well, it's a good thing that I've read some things about it as part of the statistics class. So one of the things they've decided is that T-Rex was holding down the other carnivores because young T-Rex is basically acting like a different species than adult T-Rex.
What?
Yeah, because they're enough smaller that the small carnivores just can't compete with them very much, because if you think about smaller carnivores competing with an adult T-Rex, they're not the same size, so it's not a thing. But because the young T-Rex is enough smaller, they actually don't have as many other types of carnivores in that time period as they would expect that would be their direct competition.
So it's not, so you're saying it might not be a T-Rex, but the young T-Rex might not be, adolescent T-Rex. It might be like, oh, you're just done growing. You're just short, and go off and do its own thing.
They would continue to grow, but the thing is that it would keep another species from filling that niche because young T-Rexes are filling that niche.
Oh,
so
that, yeah.
So does that mean that they were truly the apex predator during their time? Like, truly?
I would say for land animals, they probably were. There were different marine and whatever else, but yeah, if you're looking like late Cretaceous, when you've got Triceratops and T-Rex around, they were the big guys.
Yeah. So now real quick, because I no longer really remember what dinosaurs happened in which of the three main dinosaur periods. So T-Rexes are Cretaceous. They are not. They're not Jurassic. Yes.
Not Jurassic. No. Triassic is mostly things you've never heard of and really small things. Jurassic is going to be a lot of your stegosaurs and Brontosaurus, your exciting sauropods, and then Cretaceous is especially known for T-Rex and Triceratops.
All right, so T-Rex and Triceratops can get into epic death matches.
Oh,
That's
yes,
fine.
yes, they're
All right.
definitely we're alive in the same time period. So
All right, now you were just reaching for something. Were you reaching for a
that
T-Rex and a
question-
Triceratops
no, I don't
to
have
push
them.
against
I
each
have
other?
the feathered ones from last time because you were talking about whether or not they had feathers. So
Oh, excellent!
So this is the Raptor. So this is what they would look like with feathers.
Oh my! Bring it closer to the camera. Bring it closer. Bring it closer.
Oh.
All right, go the other way. Go the other. There you go. Oh my God! Look at that. That is a murder. That is a murder bird. That is a murder bird.
This is the Psittacosaurus. So not as popular, but one of your hadrosaurs, one of your so-called duck-billed dinosaurs with just the quills on the tail. So that's all they really have evidence for those guys. They don't have evidence for feathers all over.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, all right. So May, you had another question. Go ahead.
I feel silly because I feel like I was taught wrong in school, or I just watched way too much Jurassic Park. So a Triceratops was a carnivore?
Huh?
No.
No, Triceratops is an herbivore. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, I misunderstood something because I'm also in my car. I thought you were saying something else. So that's why I was like, wait, I'm wrong.
No,
I didn't hear that right. Okay.
The epic battle thing would be kind of like lions versus hippos or something. It doesn't make the hippo a carnivore because it's fighting with lions.
Now here since the Triceratops is to an extent the analog that we have of 65 million years ago to our modern rhinoceros. Rhinoceroses?
Sure.
Either way,
Okay.
I'm going to accept both. Rhinoceri if we want to go Latin. So and fake Latin at that. So since the Triceratops is kind of the analog for that, did they, just for argument's sake, do they also have, can we tell, poor eyesight like a rhinoceros does?
I don't really know the answer to that. If
Right.
we look at modern birds, it's definitely the case that some birds have better color vision.
Okay.
And so, based on them probably being browsing animals, I would guess they don't have great color vision, because what you're thinking for great color vision is either something like a raptor or something like a parrot. But it's stuff that's really hard to know because you're trying to figure out what their brain looks like from the inside of their skull. And so you can say, well, there's a lot of the brain that would be devoted to vision, but that doesn't necessarily tell you whether it's color vision or fine detail or whatever. And then they've made a lot of mistakes on how intelligent are birds because, and this is the Irene Pepperberg's metaphor, your brain is built like a turducken. There's this part that's inside this part that's inside this other part, where with birds, it's like a club sandwich. The different parts of their brain are just stacked on top of each other instead of kind of nested that way.
I love that you are using turducken and then club sandwiches as the ways of describing this.
It's Irene Pepperberg's metaphor, so
it's the most scientific of metaphors. It's the turducken, and I now want to have use graphs of following the turducken conceit. Now you are here today though to talk not just about dinosaurs and who had this, but rather paleontological fieldwork. What is it like getting out there and doing the digs and all the rest? And we're having some connection issues with May, so I'm just gonna pop her over there. But
so First of all, you have to actually get out there. And taking the class, that might be pretty straightforward. The nicest place we stayed was at Western State. At Western State in the dorms there, because it was set up like an apartment. They're some of the nicest dorms I've seen. And then you just check into the dorms. We stayed in private cabins. We've stayed in older dorms. We've stayed in a campground that actually had running water. We've stayed in a campground that had composting toilets. We've stayed in a campground that we've stayed in the middle of nowhere, just primitive camping. So the class this year is going to be doing primitive camping, where we're out in the middle of nowhere type thing. So in that case, I'm gonna be out there road building, I'm hoping, because we need to improve the road. The first year that I was on the field crew, instead of just taking the class, it was 2018. We had recently gotten a trailer, and something went wrong with the trailer before we even left town. And there was mud, it was raining, it was dark, and the trailer was stuck. So we ended up spending the night in the van, and that was not really a lot of fun. It was raining. If you're going to sleep the night in the van, take your shoes off. You're probably more comfortable. But also, anytime they stop at the gas station and they're like, does anyone need the restroom? You go then. Because you don't really want to spend the night in the van like, I need to go, but I don't want to go out in the rain.
No. You definitely, and I've slept in the van, I've slept in the car, and this is not even going on field work, this is just going places. You definitely want to stop and use the bathroom. Sleep with your shoes off, keep your socks on, change your socks if you can, people. Don't be that guy who takes off his shoes and his socks. It's just like being on a crowded airplane doing that. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. But all of this is with CNCC, yes? Colorado Northwestern Community College. Fantastic. Yeah. And
so the only other group that I've been in the field with was a class I was taking as part of my master's, and they didn't really run things very well, so I'm not going to tell you who was doing it. But yeah.
So
you get out there, and it really depends on what you're doing. If you're working on a quarry that's already established and they've already got the grid set up, which is what the class would typically be doing, then they're going to give you some tools and they're going to tell you things about how to identify a fossil and how to work on it and not damage stuff and how to be safe in the field. Because the most dangerous thing out there, it's not rattlesnakes, it's not, the weather, it's you, the people that are out there. Because any of those things that hurt you, it's because of something you did.
Yeah.
So, if you're prospecting, then the first thing you're going to end up doing is walking a lot. So I can remember towards the end of, I want to say it was 2018 field season before the class, we were out prospecting and I was tired enough by the end of that day. I was lying in the shade under the van, resting in the dirt because it was a long season at that point. So we're probably not going to be doing much prospecting. We might do some, but we need to set up a grid. We're probably going to do that before the class gets out there. And how difficult that is really depends on the site. When we were in Gunnison, it was dirt. It was fairly flat. It was like a slope, but you just put those flags, like the bright colored, bright pink or bright green flags, and you measure off a grid and put those out. some places it's rocks and it's, my lights just went off. So I'm gonna turn the light back on. Yeah, and it's not level at all, and that gets really complicated to try and make the grid because you're trying to put a level grid on where it's not level. I think Liz is actually writing a paper about how to use Pythagorean triples to do that.
Oh, very neat.
So now, yeah.
Quick question though, for you from our peanut gallery here.
Sure.
John Van Vliet asks, do you have any favorite fossilized creatures like trilobites? Anything like that?
So whatever we're working on at the time tends to be kind of a favorite, depending on how it's going.
Oh, that's exciting then.
I like sauropods, but they're not the thing you want to find in a lot of ways. So let's imagine we're out prospecting and we're looking for a good site for the class. Well, one, we don't want to be a million miles from everything. We spend more time hiking out and hiking back. And some of the people that are in the class may not be that good at hiking. If you're coming out to do field work of any sort, wear good shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've had people injure their feet. You know, it's like, it's the first day out. We're going to stop and look at some geology things, and they've already injured their foot. So, but we don't want someplace that's super far away. Some fossils are in better condition than others. So if it's kind of crumbling away, that's going to be hard for the class to work on, and it may not be worth our time and effort to go for a fossil like that. But we have limited space in the repository. We're a fairly small college, and it's just part of the basement that they've turned into a fossil repository. So the problem with sauropods is they're really, really big. And it's difficult to get those bones out and get them back to the museum, and then we don't have any place to put them. On the other hand, the skull of a sauropod is about the size of a football, and they rarely find the skulls. So if we found a sauropod skull, that would be huge.
So why is it that you hardly ever find them?
So
the
there's
skulls?
Several theories, possibilities why we don't find them. It's possible that scavengers hauled them off somewhere because the brain would be a good source of food. It's possible that a lot of times they don't find them because when you're looking at bones, like I have pictures somewhere lying down next to a sauropod long bone. It's as long as I am tall. It's probably longer. It's probably like 6 feet long. When you're finding things that are that big, you might actually miss the skull because you're not looking for something that's that small. And if you think about our skulls, the bones are mostly fused together. You basically have the lower jaw and then the top part of the skull. Dinosaurs tend to have kinetic skulls, which means a lot of the bones aren't fused. And so their jaw can move sideways, and, you know, just a lot of the bones can move that wouldn't move in our skull. And so for such a large animal, they have a fairly fragile skull, and potentially it disintegrates into those different parts, and then the parts, you know, aren't preserved.
Oh my goodness, that is entirely news to me. Wow. Now, I have a question. It is right behind you. I'm assuming it is there, so I don't forget to ask about it. So I'm going to ask about it right now. What goes in the pack?
Oh, sure. We'll show you what I have in my pack. So different people take different things, but I have a rock hammer, and there's several things that this is good for. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. I have a small sledgehammer. So this is like maybe a 3-pound sledgehammer. 6 liters of water. So we're told to carry 4, and I have 6. There's a raincoat in the bottom of here. So there's my raincoat. And yes, we're in the desert, but it does rain. We actually had a flash flood that we watched from a safe distance the first year we were out. I've got a pack with smaller tools in it. So let's see. Have the scale bar,
All right.
a brush. This is a pocket knife. It's like a Swiss Army type knife, which most of the things I've never used, but it does have a saw blade in it. And so you'll see people using some tools that are kind of sketchy sometimes. We actually have one that's like the blade from a rock saw that's just got duct tape on the back of it. But this is, there's a lot of juniper trees out there, and the bad thing is they tend to grow where the roots go into the fossils, and then that damages the fossil. I have an awl here. Let's see, trying to get it in camera range. I have earplugs. I don't know if we're going to be using the jackhammer where we are. A small chisel. There'll be some bigger chisels. Pens and pencils. A Sharpie. There's a lot of things that we use Sharpies for. So a lot of these things would be provided to people who are in the class. So eventually I started buying my own tools. Oh, well, we have some people that drink and some people that don't. So
you saw that comment.
I did see that comment. And I've got the Write in the Rain notebook. I may get a new pen for it because I think I damaged my pen. So this is what a field journal would look like. I actually have sketches in mine. And there's an official one that's like the one that they actually keep for the records and stuff. But I have a personal one. I would have a snack and my lunch in here, but I don't have them today because they wouldn't keep that long. So let's see. I don't have much else that's in my pack. I have just a whisk broom that's attached to the outside, which is something that we use a lot. I have a first aid kit that's just tiny. So the crew chief has one that's actually like has stuff in it. But I have a Band-Aid. I have chewable Pepto-Bismol, nail clippers. Nail clippers are a big thing to have because people break their fingernails and then they're annoyed by it the rest of the day. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have in my pack. There's certainly other things that we would have on the site and people would probably just, different people would carry them out there. It would have my shirt in it because I would get hot and so would have taken that shirt off and put it in my pack. Is there anything else that's actually in here? I don't think so. So yeah, I would have my hat on, which I don't have on because I'm inside. Really lightweight gloves because you end up getting your hands on the rocks a lot. I have some heavier gloves if we were packing jackets out. I usually have at least one of these, just like the carpal tunnel type hand brace thing. People are going to hurt their wrists because they're not used to pounding with a hammer all day. People are going to get bruises right here because you're going to hit yourself a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So the first year I took pictures and I had bruises everywhere. And then I was like, I'm not taking more pictures of this because.
Yeah. Well, Frank Brettweiser, friend of the show, and I gave him a brief answer in the comments, but he asking, are there any ways to get involved in paleontology late in life when it's harder to get agree due to life and timing? So I know that you
definitely. I would say, because this is what I did, the first thing to do is to take the class. It's a community college. It's like a 3 or 4 credit class, and come out on the dig with us. There are several other museums that do tourist digs of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing to be said for our program, because we don't have a master's degree program, we're just a 2-year college, you will actually be working on fossils. We're not going to put you out there until you find something and then say, oh, you need to go work somewhere else. We've got a graduate student to work on this. Maybe if you found the skull or something that was really fragile and important, but you'll be actually working on fossils.
Fantastic. And that is a good moment for me to take a quick breather, let Janine sip her beverage, and tell you that today's show is brought to you by Janine's organization, the Friends of Colorado Northwestern Field Museum. Still accepting applications for the summer dinosaur digs. You can go to the link that is currently on your screen. It's also in the comments section. So you can go to this link that's currently on your screen. I'm going to throw it into the comments one more time, or email Liz Johnson at elizabeth.johnson@cncc.edu, or call 970-824-1119 for more information. So how this works, let me just go to my ad copy here so I can give you full on how it does work. While many people only dream in taking part in a dinosaur excavation, through Colorado Northwestern Community College, that dream can become a reality. It's located in the heart of dinosaur country, and CNCC, where Janine works, offers you the chance to work alongside professional paleontologists to uncover fossils that have been buried for over 74 million years. Now, this is a 2-week session, and as Janine said, they're not going to fob you off and bring a grad student in. You're going to do the work. You're going to learn all about paleontology by digging, brushing, and uncovering a unique fossilized specimen. There's no experience required to take advantage of this amazing opportunity, only a passion for experiencing fossils up close and personal. And as Janine said, this is the way she got into it. So for more information, go to the link that is on your screen and is now in the comments, or email Elizabeth Johnson at elizabeth.johnson@cncc.edu, or call that number 970-824-1119 for more information. Do it up. What are you going to discover this summer? And I'd like to thank Friends of Colorado Northwestern Field Museum for sponsoring us. This is the 3rd month that they've done it, and so thank you so very much. We also have to thank, real quick, the Shakespeare Yogi. And you can use code Shakes.approved to save 50% on a private class with the Shakespeare Yogi. Leonard Chilagarian, your Shakespeare Yogi, will give you a fantastic yoga flow that uses Shakespeare as its core and base. She builds individual creative sessions for individual creators, helping you develop authentic connection to balance and your character by combining yoga with Shakespeare accessibly and playfully. And on the 1st and 3rd, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, there are virtual pay-what-you-can classes available, and of course, private lessons are built to the individual needs of the individual creative. You can use my code, again, Shakes.approved, for a 50% discount off of your first session, and that's for the private classes. Pay what you can. Well, you pay what you can. But you can also get more information by emailing Lena, the Shakespeare Yogi, at theshakespeareyogi@gmail.com, or send her a message on Instagram at the Shakespeare Yogi. And just a reminder, she is also here on this channel as you can see, just all the wording just changed. On this channel, she is here Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time to teach you your public class. The Shakespeare Yogi. Hey, Noni, namaste. And finally, we'd like to thank our dear friends, the Renaissance Stream Guide, your TV guide of online Renaissance Festival entertainment, featuring over 70 live streaming events every week. Play readings, comedy, belly dance, yoga, fitness classes, art streams, demos, so many to choose from. There's an accessible Google Calendar and a daily schedule post. It's an easy way for viewers to find your favorite festival performers and hopefully discover someone new. So, we've been here online for over a year. Go join us in all of the right places and make sure to go like and subscribe to the Renaissance Stream Guide on Facebook at facebook.com/Renaissance Stream Guide. Now let's come back to our guest, the amazing, the talented, the brilliant Janine Rinker, our special science correspondent. She's here talking about paleontological fieldwork, and that anyone can go learn this. So, Frank, to answer your question again, go get involved. Go do it. Go do it. Do the thing.
There are people that prefer to work in the lab, or like if you wanted to work in a museum type thing. So during this year it was during the fall. Normally it would be during the spring semester. There's a regular class that's paleo lab prep, where you prepare fossils in the lab. And most of the things, other than the practical experience with either field work or prep work in a lab, you can probably take classes online. If you were at CNCC, you could earn an associate's degree in paleontology. And people actually come into the field with a variety of degrees, or they don't necessarily have a degree if you're just interested in doing it as a hobby. But if you were interested in doing it as a career, some people go for geology, some people go for museum studies, especially if you wanted to work in the lab and or in a museum. People even have backgrounds that are things like anatomy or biology or things like that. So there's a lot of different choices. I'm guessing the time to register for the academic part of the class is approaching pretty quickly, because it's about 2 weeks minimum time that you need to take to do the academic part of the class. And the class is basically going to be out there the very end of this month. So.
Oh, wow. It starts pretty soon.
Yeah, it's going to be like I want to say the 31st, and then the next 2 weeks is the actual class. But yeah.
All right. So, a couple of questions from the internet here. Alex Stephen Arke would like to know the lick test. Do you do it?
Yeah. So there's people talking about like geologists putting dirt or rocks in their mouth. It's true. Some people do that. So if you're trying to find out how fine the sediment is in like clay or silt, people will put it in their mouth because you can maybe tell more sensitively that way. And some people do it and some people don't. But if you have the inside of a bone, it's got that porous texture and it kind of almost like wants to Velcro to your tongue. So you will see people do that.
All right.
And again, some people do that and some people don't. You get a sense of what fossils look like at the site you're working at, and then you can recognize them, but then you go to a different site and they'll look different. Because
all right.
It's different minerals, it's different, I've worked on sites that were Cretaceous and Jurassic and had dinosaurs, but also we had a site that was more recent that had turtles, and turtle shells look different than dinosaur bones. So, yeah. But yes, people will do that. And it's got that capillary action, and you can feel it try and like stick to your tongue.
Oh, that's so wild. John Van Vliet asks, what do you do with artifacts you find at the site that are not related to the purpose of your particular dig? So, like, to elaborate on that, just slightly, real quick, my question is, you had mentioned you've been on Cretaceous digs and Jurassic digs. What if there is, let's say, Cretaceous stuff and like right on top of Jurassic? I mean, like if like the sediment has shifted or something.
I think that would be pretty amazing geology.
All right. Like I was thinking earthquake might have shifted.
It's not necessarily likely, but if we were out prospecting, they found some Triassic fossilized tracks in the same area where our Jurassic site is. So artifacts are actually going to be archaeology rather than paleontology. And it does happen. So I can tell you a couple different stories where this has happened. We had an archaeologist out on the dig with us. I would encourage people, if you're interested in either archaeology or paleontology, and the other group has a dig going and your group doesn't, go check it out, because a lot of the dealing with people is the same, and the skills are some the same and some different. There's a different focus. But anyway, this guy was looking and he said, there's petroglyphs on those rocks over there. So we went and took pictures of it and took them to the BLM. I actually was standing there being the scale object for the picture, and I stepped in a hole and I got a minor injury doing that. So you definitely want to wear high top shoes that will save your feet from things like that. But yeah, BLM basically said, well, this was just like where they were practicing or testing their paint or something, and we don't really care about it. The other place where we were looking at turtles, we found a projectile point, and the BLM collected it, and they said, oh, this is really cool, but it's not in the context of an archaeo site. If it was an archaeo site and it wasn't just that one projectile point, our dig would be over. Archaeo gets precedence over paleo. That's just how it works. But
why is that?
This is the kind of nice hiking boots that some people have, but you can actually get by with what they call hiking tennis shoes. So just like a high top shoe like this, and that'll be fine.
Yeah, both my wife and I do prefer hiking sneakers because, like, for instance, I trail run. So so I make sure that like my ankle isn't going to just give out, but it grabs the earth quite nicely. Why does archaeology get precedent over paleontology?
I don't know. There's a lot of structure to like what the rules are for archaeology. I feel like they just have more rules in general. They have to record a lot more data from their site. But if it was an important archaeo site, then they would send an archaeo team out and we wouldn't be working on it anymore.
Have any fossils ever been irreparably damaged at an archaeology site?
I don't know. I doubt it, because we're very careful, and archaeologists are probably even more careful. So, and sometimes fossils could turn up as artifacts because people have been collecting fossils for a long time. So you'd have like, when they started figuring out what they were, and they had ammonites, and they're some kind of fossilized snakes or something. They're not, but it was like people were collecting them and finding out that they were something interesting. Oh, we have these tracks. These are tracks from Noah's raven from the Ark. You know, so people have known that they were something cool before they understood what they were scientifically.
Excellent.
Yeah, so if we were on a dig, we would find some stuff. We would do a lot of keeping the site clean. So a big part of what we do is brushing it and keeping it clean so you can see what you're working on. we have those feed scoops that we would be brushing dirt into, and depending on what the site looks like, we're dumping it off a cliff or we're just, getting it out of our way.
All right.
So eventually we've got an excavation around whatever fossil we're trying to remove, and we would be cutting up a bunch of burlap to make the jacket. Somebody else at the same time is down there with toilet paper and water and that little pastry brush looking thing. And we use toilet paper for a separator most of the time on our digs. Some people use paper towels. It's a little bit heavier.
I'm sorry. What do you mean by a separator? I'm so sorry.
So if you put the jacket directly on the fossil, it's going to stick and you're never going to get it off.
Oh, all right.
So we would put that toilet paper out on there. We mix up plaster. It's a lot of fun. You get plaster all over everything. But so they use high cal plaster that's maybe a little bit different from plaster of Paris, and you make it really thick. They said it's like pancake batter. So we would be soaking the burlap in water because you don't want the jacket to set too quickly. So then we take that burlap and it's all rolled up in the bucket of water. Somebody kind of unrolls it and re-rolls it in the plaster and hands it off. And we've hopefully got several people on the crew that are ready to make that jacket. And you just stretch the burlap across different directions. And it's really important that you make it smooth because people are going to be carrying that. And if there's any sharp edges on it, people can get hurt. If you look in a museum that has like this is a field site set up in the museum and the jacket is all jaggedy, it's not the real thing. They just took something and made it into a pretend jacket. But then, so you've got the top jacket on it. We'd get out there, we'd have made a pedestal around whatever we're trying to get. And we'd get out there with crowbars and different kinds of pry bars, chisels. It depends how big it is. If it's small, it's chisels that we're working with, and we try and flip it. And that's when people are probably praying, even if they don't, they aren't really religious, because things could go very well or things could go very badly when you flip that jacket. So ideally, you flip it over and you look at the bottom and it's just rock and you say it's clean and everybody's very happy. Things can go badly. It breaks. There's some kind of natural seam in the rock. You turn it over and pieces of your fossil are falling out. And we've had very good people for crew chiefs, and they didn't really curse and they didn't really get upset. But, it's distressing when you've put a lot of work in and that kind of thing. But whatever it is, you deal with it. So if it's just nice rock, then you're going to go ahead and put the jacket on the bottom. And so if there's pieces falling out of it, you may be putting a foil jacket on some of them. And you're basically taking aluminum foil and labeling it and putting it in little bags and, trying to keep track of it and get it back to the museum and hopefully put it back together.
Oh, so much that can go wrong.
Lots and lots of things that can go wrong. And it could be we are celebrating how well our season went, and we get out there the next season and it's like we probably should have been drowning our sorrows instead.
Oh, no.
Because you think that things have gone quite well, and then you later find out they haven't gone as well as you thought. We had a sauropod longbow that was in very good shape, and we didn't even have to dig it out. It was just like sitting there on the ground, exposed. And in order to pack it back with just 4 people on our crew, our crew chief decided to put more water and less plaster in. And so it got somewhat broken up transporting that jacket. Yeah, and so it's sitting on a gurney in the basement right now. But yeah, so packing those jackets out can be really a challenge. We had 4 people pulling this thing with like tie straps and stuff. And fortunately it was fairly soft and fairly gentle slopes, and we could haul it with 4 people. But sometimes they'll put a car hood under. We haven't done that. You can build like a wooden sled type thing for it. We've had the sports teams out to move things. Yeah, so let's get competition going. Hey, the rodeo team got this other jacket out. Come on, softball, you can do it. Come on,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
you should call up one of the professional teams as well. Just be like, hey, this is good publicity.
Yeah, they actually ended up using a helicopter to move them. So we got them. Walter is the first dinosaur that's in our museum. He's a big hadrosaur. There's a mural of him out on the wall, and he's like nearly 2 stories tall. Huge duck-bill dinosaur. Some of these jackets were so big. This particular quarry is kind of like a cliff, and so we got them up to the top enough that they could get them out with a helicopter. But they were just too large and too heavy to move, and they actually had to cut through some of the fossils to get them out of there.
That's a shame.
Well, it's not that big of deal. I mean, you have a rock saw, and you can glue stuff back together in the lab. So, I've heard stories of things like, they had a Triceratops skull and they had to drop it because they didn't think the helicopter was going to be able to fly successfully with that. So that would be much worse. Because that's something you can't glue together at that point.
Well, our guest today has been Janine Rinker, our special science correspondent. If you're a frequent viewer of the show, you know that is the title she gets for throwing random facts into our conversations instead of just letting us guess about things. So, Janine, thank you so very much for being here today and telling us all about paleontological fieldwork. She works with Colorado Northwestern Field Museum and Colorado Northwest Community College. Go if you are interested in joining this summer's field dig. Might still be a little bit of time. You can go to the link that I'm throwing back up on your screen right now, and it is also in the comments. But Janine, once again, thank you so very much for joining us here today. And friends, that is about it from me for this third to last episode of Shakespeare's Coffee Break for this season. I am your friendly neighborhood Shakespeare, and I am on my coffee break. Special thanks to Mayhem for having dropped in on us earlier for Where in the World is Mayhem. 2 more episodes this month, and then we are off for the summer. Tomorrow, TJ Miller of the New Jersey Renaissance is going to be joining us, talking about all of the exciting bits that they're going to be doing at New Jersey at the end of May and beginning of June. And then on Wednesday, for the final show of the month, going to have some special surprises. On Thursday, of course, we have Writing Sonnets with Shakespeare. That is going to be at 9 a.m. on twitch.tv/nat21adventures. And then right here at 10:35. And then Shakespeare's Shameless Self-Promotion Happy Hour this Thursday at 5:35 p.m. Starting next weekend, not this weekend that we're going to happen in 5 days, but next weekend I will be at the Scarborough Renaissance Festival for 2 weekends, 5 show days, May 22nd and 23rd, and then the 29th, 30th, and 31st in Waxahachie, Texas. And then the week after, I'll be at the second weekend of the New Jersey Renaissance Fair, where we are also going to be having our Nat 21 Con. So join us for all of that excitement. You're going to see Mayhem, you're going to see Paolo Garbanzo, Mab Just Mab, Kitty Chaos, I think Adomo Ignis is going to be joining. So there's going to be so many of us, and I hope you are there as well. And I hope you just join us for all of the silliness, because we're back, baby. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so exciting. And I'm so glad that all of you have been enjoying the show today. John Vliet saying to Janine, brilliant segment, great show today. Shame that this one has to end. Alex Stevenake says, thank you, Janine. I love this. And Kathy Evans says, this is fantastic. Love the topic. Thank you for sharing. So, Janine, you are beloved by everyone else out there. Just you are loved, and they love your topic. So thank you again for being here today on the show. Friends, that basically does it for me today. If you enjoyed the show half as much as I enjoy making it, I obviously enjoy it twice as much as you do. And that's called maths. Thus, whatever you feel the show is worth, a 1, a 5, a 10, for a 50, I will dig up a dinosaur in your front garden. I don't know if there's a dinosaur there, but I'll just start digging. It doesn't matter if there's a dinosaur there. I'm just gonna be like, there's dinosaurs! And I'm gonna be just shouting, it belongs in a museum! They do move in herds! Its vision is based on every catchphrase from any digging movie. We're gonna throw it there. Journey to the Center of the Earth, I'm gonna be quoting it. Just throw it into the hat. And by hat, I mean buy me a cup of coffee. Go to coffee.com/Shakespeare. That's ko-fi.com/Shakespeare. And buy me a cuppa. And speaking of, let's have one last noisy slurp right now. It's good internet audio. I don't care who you are. And that is the last of my coffee. You can also become a Patreon of the arts by going to patreon.com/Shakespeare and support this on a regular basis. Tiers start at $3, go all the way up to $30, and all the tiers get the same rewards right now because I want everyone to get the same level of weird. But it's a good time. You can also show Mayhem. We found out where in the world she was. She was driving home. You can support her in a financial way. Help her buy a house. On Venmo, at the Mayhemmer, Cash App, $the Mayhemmer, PayPal, may.hemmer@gmail.com, and coffee.com/the Mayhemmer. So, friends, until next time, I love you, you love me. There is mutual glorious affection. 2 more shows to go. See you soon. Bye-bye.